What's up, guys? Welcome back again, and I'm with my brother this time, and he's showing off his green hybrid deck.
What's up?
So I think you want to let's just get right into it. Let's just get right into it because
Okay.
yeah, just let's go.
All right. So first draft of this deck, it's pretty much done. Of course, with tournaments, it might change here and there. But Tentomon is my favorite Digimon, and like having all this new green Kabuterimon stuff is super exciting. Of course, I can't max out Tentomon in this deck, but the fact that green's coming back is really dope. And super cheap too. This is just a rare for some reason.
No, because everyone likes playing blue or yellow.
That's true. There's other more expensive, cool, fun decks, and probably better than this, but it's really good for its value. So we'll start with the babies. Once again,
The best one, literally. I'm not gonna lie.
most of my decks, the babies don't really matter that much. I kind of use them just to digivolve. But I chose this one, like my brother says, the best one, at least for this deck, because if you manage to actually go up to an Ancient Beetlemon, you're always going to attack with this. So unsuspends during your turn, you gain a memory. That value is really good in this deck, mainly because a lot of your stuff lower their Digivolution costs to sometimes, you know, just one or two. So then this makes it so it's a negative, so it just makes it like free. So any one cost, like this guy, little foreshadowing. It says at the top, if you are when it digivolves into this card, reduce its memory cost or its Digivolution cost by 2. So it's just one cost for this. So if you do Argomon at the beginning of the turn, you gain the 1 memory. A Rhino Kabuterimon is free.
It's practically a turbo card.
Yeah. So this is good for turboing. Of course, people run the other greens, but in my opinion, for the
Argomon's the best.
yeah, for the memory value this deck has, we're using little memory as possible. Gaining just 1 memory makes things free. So best one. And I only run 4 because your tamers are your babies now. So yeah. Starting the deck with the big boys, of course. Ancient Beetlemon. I don't know.
Win
I don't know
condition.
what else to say, yeah. You have to run as many of this. You're trying your best to get into this. That's why half the deck searches it. And the fact that you can attack and trash is pretty nuts. Trashing security is better than the actual check itself, so nothing goes off. So this is kind of...
So they lose their tamers, memory boosts,
Yeah.
even like Omnimon Zwart.
Yeah, Zord,
Or defeat.
Yeah, it's Zord defeat, kill cards like Wyvern's Breath, Gaia Force, the Ultimate Flare, gets over all of that. So trashing security is pretty nuts.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, 13 is huge. I have some rookies to help boost that even more. But yeah, 13.
No, you can still cover a lot of ground with 13k.
Yeah, 13 is massive. And one thing I didn't know is that this was a 10 warrior. Before I was building the deck, I didn't know it was a 10 warrior. I just ran it because it was good. You know, this kind of replaces blockers in a way. So I don't run many blockers. Suspending 2 Digimon without blocker is pretty nuts.
Yeah, it helps against like very aggressive decks like Imperial Dramon or a lot of red and blue like hybrid decks. Even Jesmon itself, this is very tough to beat.
Yeah, and especially with that ruling where before the attack actually happens, all your opponents, when attacking effects, go off first. So if it were to unsuspend itself, you can suspend that Digimon that was unsuspended. And, you know, a rookie like Vmon, or any like rush cards, Commandramon, I guess. This Bushiagu too, like this stops like a lot of rushing your security, so you don't really need to run many blockers. And once again, it's a 10 warrior, which is pretty nuts.
Yeah, I think that's Woodmon's final form.
Yeah, so yeah, the fact that it's a 10 warrior makes it searchable and work with your other 10 warrior stuff. And lastly, once Asano I see some decks not even run it at all. They put in like a Herc instead. As much as I wanted to use a Herc, I think this is just better. Plus 2 security, so it checks for 3, and it has a built-in Gaia Force. Is pretty nuts.
You get your money's worth. Spent a pretty penny on that, didn't you?
Yeah, it was like only like $40, so it wasn't too bad. And I'm not gonna get the alt art.
The original still looks cool though.
It does. It looks really cool. But yeah, I just love how it digivolves from everything. It's a rainbow. The only weird part was it's a shaman and not a 10 warrior.
They purposely made that.
You know, so you can really search it. So if like the amount of search cards in this deck that searches for 10 warriors and hybrids and stuff like that would put this at the bottom of the deck. It's kind of sad, but if you were to get this off, you know, it's pretty much game at that point.
Yeah.
It's a great card. Great card. If you pull it, you're golden. If you haven't bought it yet, I think you should buy it now. It might go up in price, depending what will happen.
Yeah, for sure.
That's all the big ones. Not many. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so not a lot, but there's a lot of searching in this deck.
It's very consistent.
Back when it was just Lobomon and Agunimon, you know, Lobomoning for game, half the deck has that feature to it, so you don't really need to run too many big guys. But yeah, that's those. For level 5s, of course, not many either. Some people run just these guys, because like what I said earlier, Digivolving for 1 and then like attacking and then going into Ancient Beetlemon before the attack hits is pretty... It's a crazy game mechanic. I think them putting that into green is good because the original reason why, or the original strong point of green was growing, so it's like digivolving.
Yeah, faster. The Digisorption, that was their game plan before.
Yeah, like so how every color has their own gimmick. Green was the digivolve fast because it's like plants growing. Was good, but Digisorption was too broke. But then this is a way to have the deck digivolve fast and be good, but not too broken. So I think adding that feature into this deck is really cool, especially how if you were to have a different level 5, the dual Izzy Mimi would do the same thing. And I think that's really cool. And I do run a different level 5. No one runs it. Everyone just runs the 4. But I decided to put in this.
Good addition.
Yeah, because this and this is trash too.
That's a bit much.
And especially if you use the original Tamer.
That's really good against like set control too.
Yeah. If you use the original Tamer, JP, so you would go into this, you would do the Tamer evolution, and then you go into Mega Kabuterimon, and then this.
Yeah, you climb to Mega Kabuterimon.
Yeah, so the Mega Kabuterimon trash 1. He would trash 1. This would give piercing. So you're clearing 3 security, and 2 of them are trashed. So their effects don't go off.
So I think they're trashed before you pierced, or how does
no, you pierce first, and then it trashes the 2 after. So like if you pierce for the 1, and then the 2 after goes off, like they have like some crazy thing in security like Swart or something, like we said earlier, they wouldn't matter. And I think this card is very underrated. Only running it at 2, mainly because you want to see your level 4s more. But even just, you know, digivolving from a champion into this dude costs a lot. In the long run, it's not that bad. I've cleared many games with it. It's too good. This card's insane. Yeah, those are the 5s. And I only run 4, 5, 6 level 5s. Not a lot, but that's good. And then next, we got the champions. We got Beetlemon and Metal Kabuterimon. You have to run both at 4. Just because, you know, consistency. This card is really good. It has a built-in flower cannon, which is pretty wild. And it says 6k or less.
So I see you go after a lot of blockers, actually.
Yeah, so you stop the blocker. So you stop the blocker, and then you go into this dude. And then you attack over the blocker. I think is pretty freaking wild.
That's really strong.
Yeah, it's really good, and especially how this is also a consistency card and it's a kill card, where you know Digivolve into Tamer direct for the last hit.
And you suspend their blockers so they can't save themselves.
Yeah, so you can either go into this search and then suspend the blocker for 1 cost.
Yeah, you got to be careful though because this guy is a cyborg.
They're all cyborgs.
Oh, but there's some that like works with insectoid cards. Little foreshadowing, so you got to be careful.
Yeah. So these aren't insectoids; they're cyborgs, which is pretty good still. It doesn't matter too much because it mainly works with the hybrid feature.
Oh, okay.
But there's I run the Tentomon that works with insectoid. I'll explain that later. But yeah.
So yeah, I just got to be careful about that.
Yeah, these are all full best
Otherwise,
ones.
still good. Still good.
Yeah, yeah. Best in the deck. I'd run more if I could. But yeah, and the other champions we run are the Kabuterimon. There's
Turbo.
a lot of times where it's either one cost turbo, or I would actually need a blocker. So yeah, I run the Kabuterimon.
It's an online participant. It's a flex piece.
Yeah. Online participant. I also like the whole line where I go Tensumon, Kabuterimon, Mega Kabuterimon, just because it's my favorite Digimon. And I run this. I don't run the Arbormon.
Yo, that thing's level 4, 7k?
Yeah, so it's level 4 with 7k. I'll just say it now. I run the Palmon, so then 7 goes to 9k. And it has piercing. So that's why I think this card's pretty wild.
That's crazy.
Because you can, if your opponent has one security left, you can pierce for the 1 and then like swing with another Digimon for game. Which is pretty good. If I were to run, I wouldn't run Arbormon because these guys do what Arbormon does plus.
Plus they do something.
Yeah. So I wouldn't want to run, what these guys already do. Like if something different, it would be this. He's a little bit more expensive. He's a 3 cost. But
7k for a level 4.
Yeah,
That's a lot of good value, more or less.
And it could attack the same turn it's played, mainly because of Digivolves.
Yeah.
So yeah, 7 cost, level 4, and it with Palmon it goes to 9k, which runs over pretty much a lot. Yeah, Paddledramon's worth it. It's a Dramon, which is funny, but yeah. And that's all the champions. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Quite a few.
But they're mostly hybrids, so
yeah, but
it is what it is.
They're all hybrids, except for Kabuterimon. Yeah. And the rookies, my favorite part, the one that differs my deck from others. 2 Tentomon. I like this Tentomon. There's the other Tentomons are cool. I really like the one that does the Pagumon where you just top, see if it's green, add it to your hand. That's cool and all, but then this one is really good, mainly because it has synergy with this guy. Because next time when attacking, next time you Digivolve, you -1. And this one, when attacking, you Digivolve for 3. So it makes this a 2 cost. I think that's pretty insane.
Just watch out for Siakomon, Cutemon, and like Ganosmon.
Yeah. Because it says here that if you were to evolve into an insect or ancient was it
Ancient insect?
Yeah, insectoid or ancient insect, and they made him an ancient insect. I'm happy they didn't make it just a 10 warrior. It's 10 warrior / ancient insect, so this will work. And it's also a target for your eggs, because a lot of your rookies are hard drops, so like you don't really digivolve from eggs. But yeah, this works with the Argomon really well too, because if you did digivolve it and then manage to get to this point, it would make it a less cost, and this is already suspended because you attacked with it. So next turn you're going to unsuspend it and gain the memory.
So you get so much value out of the ancient Beetlemon.
Yeah. I talk very highly of this Tensumon, but I only run 2, mainly because there's other rookies that you would much rather draw into. And to partner with this Tensumon, I run the Structure Deck Palmon. Making this 15.
To like run over
not?
Somebody.
Yeah. There's many Digimon that, go up to 14. So, having that little boost just to run over a suspended big guy your opponent has is pretty good. So you can trash 1, and then this goes to 15. And 15 is huge, massive.
Big.
Yeah.
Big mans.
Only 2. Like I was either thinking of running 4 this or 4 this, just to, either get those outcomes more, or consistently see those outcomes more. But I decided to split it up. Just to have that variety. And you don't use your eggs that often, so like if you draw enough, you can have these sit in your hand and then just decide which one to use in the moment.
Like whatever fits the scenario during the game.
Yeah. So that's the first rookies. The next we had 3 Terramon. I was running 4, but I took 1 out to make room for the Susanowamon, because I decided to run the Susanowamon. It's good. It does what all the other ones do. Memory Tamer. Not Memory Tamer. It stops memory, except Tamers. Yeah, good card. That's not really crazy explanation on that. and one of the best rookies ever printed known to man. Pokemon. You would run 7 if you could.
Yeah.
8 if you want to. But unfortunately, we're locked to 4 of this dude.
Copies only.
Because of ruling. But you top 5, and then you get a 10 warrior or hybrid and a tamer. And it just says tamer.
Cassie? Yeah, so you can get whatever tamer you want.
Yeah, which is pretty gnarly because this guy, he searches specifically just JP, but then they want everyone to use this in all the decks. So then they can't list every single tamer name, so they just said tamers. So then the fact that this just says tamers makes you search your other tamers on top of your 10 warrior / hybrid cards. Is pretty gnarly. Unfortunately, your Pokemon cannot get this as One because, like I said earlier, this is a Shaman and not a 10 warrior. Which kind of sucks. You know, it would be cool if you could search it out, but it doesn't. So unfortunately, I'll go over to the bottom of the deck and I learn 1. But other than that, like, it turbos into Ancient Beetlemon.
Consistency is important. Plus, your hybrid evolutions are free.
Yeah.
Because you gain 2 memory.
Yeah, that part's pretty wild. Because JP -1, which is cool.
That's why if you go against hybrid, you have to kill this guy as soon as possible.
Yeah, so when you go into, if you use your other tamers, it's free. Because you gain 2 memory, so it makes your what's his name?
The level 4 Beetlemons.
Pedaldramon, a 1 cost instead of 3. So you can push for game with that. Yeah, super good. Pokemon is pretty gnarly. In any.
Why aren't you gonna run the Nemon?
I don't run Nemon mainly because you want to make room for your other Kabuterimon and Beetle stuff. Because the fact that you get 2, so you takes up 8 spots. Angel Beamon, you have to run 4. You can't just snuff out with 3. So it takes up your spots. So a lot of spots are taken up, and just Pokemon itself is just better. I wish I could run both, but you know, deck space.
Yep.
Cool. Now, tamers and options. Quite a lot, because it's that kind of deck. For this guy, pretty obvious. Nothing else to say. I run Ken, mainly because the gaining memory thing is when you kill a dude, you gain a memory. I think that's pretty insane. On top of Argomon and, you know...
For this particular deck.
Yeah, for this particular deck. The things that every green deck runs is the Digizorvers, like Argomon, HPD, Mimi. Unfortunately, this deck is too fast for that. Like, your hybrid stuff stacks really quickly because with the Pokemon, you go into this, it's free. You go to that, that's 1, and then when you attack, you go into this. So you can go into this into like 1 turn. There's no point in Digizorption. There's no point in Mimis and switching out your eggs because all your rookies are very dropping. They're all hard plays. Yeah, the classic green stuff unfortunately doesn't
work with this particular deck.
Yeah, it doesn't pull up with the hybrid stuff. And I do run 2 of this, mainly because if you want to pull off the
the top 3.
Yeah. So you mainly use it for it's a spend thing because when your opponent attacks, it's kind of a floodgate. They either don't want it, they can either attack and give you 2 memory, or they don't attack at all. You don't lose any security, and it swings to your turn. So it's kind of floodgatey. And also, it turns Mega Kabuterimon into a Rhino Kabuterimon. When you can attack, you top 3, and if you actually pull one of these out, then you continue the attack as the bigger dude. It's risky, but if you're put in that scenario, it makes these guys the same, which is pretty good. Yeah, and also these 2 together is 5 memory when you start, and you only play with 3 memory in this deck, so that's quite a lot. You could go into Ancient Beetlemon with giving your opponent less memory on their turn, sometimes even choking them. Yeah, those are all of those, and for options, 3 Evolution Ancients. I was thinking about putting 2 Evolution Ancients and an HPD, but HPD is just unfortunately not fast enough for this deck. It's cool to have, have something to.
Well, you can
Zero.
suspend the Boko and then activate it, but that's still pretty slow.
Yeah, so you either do that and lose your Pokemon, but what you want to do is evolve into Ancient Beetlemon and swing it to their turn after you attack. So if it comes out for free, you have to hard drop something or give them a little bit more memory, but this chokes, like the whole Beetlemon play chokes, and HPD kind of gets rid of that. And you run into less scenarios where you can kill something and choke them at one. So Evolution Ancient is pretty insane. It makes you go from a 4 to a 6. And it skips the whole level 5 phase. That's why I don't have any level 5s. Pretty good. Hidden security added to your hands. And you don't need a white color on the field for it. You just need a hybrid, so yeah. Pretty good. Last two cards.
Thunder Laser.
1 cost Flower Cannon. Of course you need a 10 Warrior or a hybrid out.
That's not hard.
In this deck, I'm maxed out on that. I don't run any Blossomons or Arbormons or... Oh no, Arbomon is, but... Blossomon, Argomon, not really. It's not hard. I was actually thinking about taking one of these out for Thunder Laser, but I find myself needing this a little bit more. But yeah, Thunder Laser is super good. The only crappy part about this is it doesn't trigger insecurity. It's add to your hand. That's what Flower Cannon has a little bit over Thunder Laser. But if I were to do that and thinking about this insecurity, I would have to run 4 of this. So just 2 of this is a lot better.
Okay.
And yeah, that's pretty much the deck.
That's my bro's version of the green hybrid Ancient Beetlemon deck. You know the drill. Still road to 100. But as well, comment, like, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this video as well, and hope to see you next time.
I don't wanna live my